What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You're dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, an extension of the YouTube channel Dead Meat. I'm James.
I'm Chelsea, and we're engaged, and we like to get scared together.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start this year off with a gross-ass movie.
Yeah.
Real nasty little movie based on a nasty short story written by Stephen King and his son, Joe Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine writing this with your dad.
Yeah, no, I can totally imagine it for these two. Absolutely.
Well, like, what are those brainstorming sessions? Anyway, hey, Happy New Year. Thanks for sticking with us through 2020. I guess I'll go over, because people were wondering what the podcast schedule is going to be like this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it being too different. I think the only difference is I'm going to be doing less, research-heavy ones because those take the most time, which, makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do any that deserve more work than I'm able to put into them. I still want to do a couple big ones this year, but besides that, we'll be doing movie reviews and maybe some more fluffy ones.
And some interviews.
Yeah, we'll do interviews and stuff too.
Yeah.
So I guess just expect less extremely work intensive ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's it. I mean, I'm still basically going to release once a week. I don't see that changing, barring weeks where we're out doing stuff.
Yeah.
So, yep, there you go.
Cool. There you go.
All right, so let's talk about In the Tall Grass, which came out last year. It came out 2019 on Netflix.
The novella was written, or the short story, I guess, was written in 2 parts in Esquire magazine in 2012.
Yeah, I think it counts as a novella. I think it's long enough.
Okay.
I don't really know how you delineate what's a novella, what's a short story.
Mm-hmm. You can read this in one
novelette
sitting.
Its own thing too.
Is that really a thing?
I don't know if I just made up that word or not.
A novelito.
Novelito.
Yeah, you can definitely read it in one sitting. I did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I read this at night because I couldn't sleep, and then that didn't help. It's not even that it's necessarily that scary. It's just some of the imagery in it is just so gross.
I think the first half is spooky and good because it's 2 parts. The second half is more horror.
Yeah.
And it's less scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
It feels more, I don't know, comic booky. The guy who Patrick Wilson plays in this, in the short story, he's too ridiculous for me. When he shows up, I'm like, okay.
He's a little, I was shocked when I realized, oh, that's who Patrick Wilson is playing.
He's very different in the movie.
Yes, yeah. So we'll be talking both about the novella and the movie on Netflix. I think they're different enough.
They're very different. They added a lot to the movie.
Which
you have to.
Yeah, it's both to its benefit and its
detriment.
Yeah,
because the short story is very simple. It's brother and sister, Cal and Becky, hear a kid screaming in the grass, and they pull over and they go inside the grass to help him. And then the first half is pretty much that. It's descriptions of them getting lost in the grass,
and them yelling for each other, and they can't find each other. And it was weird how I realized this movie's very quickly just barreling through the plot of the short story, which is why I was like, what is the rest of this gonna be?
Yeah.
We were 15 minutes in and already at parts where I knew it was, maybe 3/4 of the way through the original story. So I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Definitely.
Which was a fun thing. I was worried it would be, pretty by the numbers. We're gonna adapt this pretty straight up. So I was pleasantly surprised that I had no idea what was gonna happen.
I will say that reading the novella ahead of time, knowing that we were doing this, I was reading it and thinking, how are they going to do this?
Yeah.
And they added a bunch of stuff as the answer to that, including an entirely new character. Well, I guess
kind of. He's technically
he is. You hear him over the phone in a flashback scene in the novella, and that is Becky's ex-boyfriend, I guess,
Yeah.
and the father. She is pregnant. She's, I believe, 6 months,
She
they
says
say in the
6
movie.
months, yeah.
I don't think it's specified in the novella because when she begins to have the baby, spoiler alert, in the novella she never thinks, oh, this is too early or anything. She's just like, I'm going to have this baby here.
Right.
So she may be more pregnant in the novella. Anyway, the character Travis is her ex-boyfriend, I presume,
And
who
baby daddy.
And he is a large part of the movie.
He's a very big part of this movie,
maybe
which
the
I'm
main
still.
character.
He might kind of be, dude. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the original main characters in the short story are Cal and Becky, brother and sister, and they are road tripping out to San Diego while she is pregnant.
She's going to give the baby to a family in San Diego to keep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
is that the case in the story too? I don't remember.
It is. That's why they're or it's I believe it's their aunt and uncle, and I think she might be going out there to stay with them. I don't know if she's giving up the baby, but
that's what I thought.
Yeah. So, but they're definitely heading from the East Coast to San Diego, cross-country road trip, and they find themselves in Kansas, and it's the middle America that King loves to write about when he's not writing about Maine. I believe Children of the Corn is Nebraska, but very close.
Yeah.
They literally say, I think you're heading towards Nebraska, kid, in this. I think in both the novel.
Yeah, and I think it plays, I don't remember if in the short story this plays a part, but they mention a few times in this that they're in like the literal dead center of the United States.
That's right.
Here.
That's not mentioned as much in the short story. It is kind of made to be a point in the movie, and I looked it up. The geographical center of the contiguous United States is, in fact, in Kansas, and I would like us to visit it sometime.
I do think it's funny, though, if that's a thing where, okay, this rock, they find a giant rock.
Rock's important.
It literally is like the big rock that SpongeBob rides around in that episode where they deliver pizza. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's not a boulder.
It's a rock. It's like that size and shape and everything.
Yeah.
And then when SpongeBob touches it, he gains all otherworldly knowledge of Bikini Bottom. But no, they find this rock that is supposed to be just like right in the middle of the U.S., but also they say, oh, it's been here since before. They're like, is it Native American? No, it's been here since like before. It's like older than, but why is it at the center of the United States? This like artificially drawn.
He does say the center of the continent as well, so it's not.
Okay.
That might check out. The U.S. is pretty central between. I know Canada's got a lot of landmass.
That's what I'm
up
saying.
There. Yeah.
It's kind of hilarious that you know.
Patty Wilson does say center of the U.S., center of the continent, so he gives it. But that's not in the short story at all. Something that is in the short story that's lacking in here is all the road trip fun that they get up to.
Yeah, where they go visit stupid roadside attractions.
It's the biggest ball of twine.
Yeah.
And in fact, Patrick Wilson's character has a shirt from that place, and so do some characters at the end who aren't in the movie.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like this thing is grabbing people who are doing the Kichi road trip. We were candidates for it then.
Yeah, we would have absolutely gotten sucked into the tall grass in this story. For sure. So basically they are, so they're in Kansas and they're they hear a kid, Cal and Becky, that is, the brother and sister. They hear a kid while they're pulled over on the side of the road yelling from the grass. He says his name is Tobin.
Another voice calls him Tobin, his mother's voice.
That's right.
Because Tobin is yelling for help. He's lost in there. But his mom's voice is saying, no, Tobin, don't yell out to them. Like, don't bring them in here. He'll hear you and find you.
This is when you drive away and call the police.
Yeah, for sure.
Easier said than done, I guess.
Instead, Cal enters the grass with a very Stephen King line. Captain Cal to the rescue.
There's a lot of Stephen King dialogue in this, and I think that's often where Stephen King adaptations, it really makes or breaks it.
You gotta be careful.
You gotta,
with it.
you have to adapt those choices with discretion.
Yes.
Especially when, and this stuck out to me in the short too, is like, this is set now pretty much. It's like set 2010s. And these characters are college kids and they're reciting limericks to each other.
Well, in the short story, it's explained.
She like majored in limericks or something.
She had like a paper on limericks, so she had done some research. In this, no explanation.
No, we're
is
just
given.
doing. There once was a man named McSweeney.
Yeah,
I forget how the rest of it goes.
He poured
some gin on his weenie
and feeling
uncouth added a bit of vermouth and
slipped his girl a martini.
Which is just, it's so Stephen King.
Yeah, there's also Patrick Wilson saying, like, I know you don't know me from Adam. And it's
Yeah,
like,
you don't know me from Adam is such a Stephen King. And then
Yeah.
also, real estate's my game, which
Oh,
he
yeah, he
says
says that a
several
few
times. Not even
times.
part of a rhyme or anything. He doesn't even do the,
No, I think he does.
No,
say,
he
like,
does, but then later he
Oh, yeah.
just says real estate's my, like we all know the first part, so whatever.
Yeah.
Boy.
So yeah, they go into the grass. Cal goes in first. Becky tries to use her phone to call, but as few steps into the grass, that's gone.
Yep.
And then they're lost. They're in the grass and they're lost.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, because this grass is taller than them.
Yeah.
They're calling out to each other, but the voices keep changing where it's coming from, left to right. And then here's the thing is the thing that, like, the moment that really solidifies that something is supernatural about this is when they decide to jump on threes so they can see where each other are. And I will note that in the movie, it's Becky's idea. In the short story, it's Cal's.
Yeah, okay.
They gave her a few lines of his.
Sure.
But yeah, so they do 1, 2, 3, they jump and they see each other and they're pretty close. And they're like, okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, and they jump.
And they're way farther away.
For some reason, the moment in the movie didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to. It's done in slow motion, but it's like, I don't know, just the way it was shot. I don't know. This is done by, what's his name? The guy who did Cube and Split.
Cube and Split, Vincenzo Natali.
Okay, so he did this. I was wondering this entire movie, what would it be like if Mike Flanagan did it?
I mean, he's good at adapting Stephen King. We know that.
And Stephen King, that is supposed to be unfilmable with
That's
Gerald's Game.
Very true.
Which is, after rewatching it recently, I think one of the best horror movies that came out that year. It's just so good. And
still to this day, the one gory effect that I felt like I was going to pass out, and that never happens.
It's
I'm
very
pretty
bad.
okay with gore. Like I'll get grossed out, but I'm never viscerally affected. But that I started feeling lightheaded.
that's one of those scenes where I'm just like having some kind of physical outlet, like hitting something
like just
to get
wringing
through
my
it.
hand.
Yeah. But I wonder if it was ever given to him as an option and he was like, no, I can't. Because it's a weird story.
It's hard to adapt.
Very hard.
Because I will say I need to remember to include Joe Hill when I'm bringing out the short story too. It's easy to just say Stephen King.
Yeah.
But it's both of them. It's so much description of grass, and which is great to read because it is terrifying.
It's very effective.
It is really effective. And just the meandering descriptions of grass, it gives you the feeling of being lost in it, it's just kind of never ending and samey, same for a long time. It's like that's the feeling of walking around in this sea of grass where nothing is visually different and it's creepy, but how do you convey that in film? It's hard. I give this credit. I think it has a very low Rotten Tomatoes score, which I think is a little bit undeserved. It has like a 38 or something.
Yeah, and like I guess I get it knowing exactly how Rotten Tomatoes scores are calculated because it's not people thinking it's a 3 out of 10 movie.
Right.
It's 3 out of 10 critics thought that it wasn't good.
Right. Like a negative review can be...
It can be like a 5. It can be like
it like just kind of missed the mark, but it wasn't bad. But that's still kind of counted as a bad review.
Yeah, people don't quite
and good
understand
reviews can
that.
be like it was fine.
Exactly, yeah.
So something could be like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but all the reviews are like, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine, yeah. I think the movie is very middle.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't call it bad. I wouldn't maybe call it good.
No, me either. It's tough.
Sometimes it feels like a music video with the
sure it does.
the camera effects they do.
There was a concept artist that worked on this. I meant to look up his name before, which is interesting. You bring up the, they had a manga artist do the concept art, and I remember looking at the concept art before I saw this, and it was really creepy.
It's got some creepy visuals to it.
Yeah. Some added visuals that are not a thing in the short, which is kind of cool.
A lot of macro photography, like super close up on bugs and water droplets and stuff, and like slow motion. It did feel very music video at times.
Yeah, you definitely always get the sense that something is watching which is neat, especially those zoom ins on grass, because there's so much living stuff in there that you would never notice from far away. And I love the overhead shots of all the grass too.
Oh, that first shot that opens it is great. It's just this huge overhead that slowly goes in. It's like a sea of grass. It's great.
You
It's
really get
good.
the sense that all of it is like a living thing. That you get shots from overhead and it's like the grass is breathing more so, explicitly later on. It's lots of like heavy breathing with grass and it looks really nice. I want to know how they did a lot of that because it doesn't look fake. It looks real. Like it looks like wind is really blowing it like that. I don't know. I like it.
So they run into pretty quickly on, I would say maybe 15 minutes or less into the film, they run into Patrick Wilson.
Oh my God.
Who says, "I'm Tobin's daddy."
I'm Tobin's daddy.
Yes. Now in the short story, he's not introduced until the very beginning of the second half.
Yeah.
You start that first half is
And
just them looking for the boy.
It is a to bring up another King reference, it is a Steven Weber versus Jack Nicholson situation where now it's the reverse almost.
It is, yeah.
Because in the short, you meet this dad and he's crazy right off the bat and he's scary.
In the novella, he comes in, he's like, hey, he's immediately, this guy's a fucking psychopath.
He's already kind of flipped. He's already touched the rock.
And that's why I didn't like his character in the short story. It's too much,
he's
too fast.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
He is terrifying though. He's like a shark, I think.
Ooh.
He always knows where you're at and it's creepy. He's always moving.
Yeah.
But in this we meet Patrick Wilson before he touches the rock
or at least doesn't act like
he's
it.
not as outwardly.
Yeah.
Maybe the potential's there.
It's hard to tell because
It is
this
hard to
movie
tell.
adds a little time element because the short story doesn't really have that.
But this one, we're doing time loops, guys, and
I
I kind of love a good time loop.
I'm a sucker for time loop
and you
stuff.
know what? This guy, Vincenzo Natali, did Cube, which I fucking love Cube, and I think he it makes sense to me that he made this more of a psychological thing than maybe the short. The short is a bit more, I don't know how to describe it. There's less, like mindfuckery.
Yes. This is very, they added a lot of mindfuckery elements.
Yeah.
Which, we once did a double hitter of Looper and 12 Monkeys.
No, Primer.
I'm sorry, Primer and 12 Monkeys. Just
That'll
to
make your
really
ears
fuck
bleed,
you up.
your brain
Yeah.
just leak out of your ears. Primer's great. That's not a horror? I was like, could we review? No, that's not horror.
Hard sci-fi.
It's extremely hard sci-fi.
That is mathematics science fiction. It was great.
It's another of my favorite genres. Not just sci-fi, but like hard sci-fi, like Moon. I feel like is hard
fuck
sci-fi.
yeah, Moon.
Where we're dealing with conceptual shit. Jacob's Ladder? No.
Jacob's Ladder is its own thing.
It's its own thing. Yeah. But yeah, 12 Monkeys. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, so Becky finds Patrick Wilson.
Yes.
Who is Ross. And meanwhile, Cal, after finding a dead dog.
Ooh, that's gross. That like swarm of flies.
Oh, yeah,
it's
gross
a nasty
flies.
looking effect.
With a tag
Very
that says
good.
Freddy on it. Freddy's dead, baby.
Freddy's dead. Yeah.
He runs into the kid, Tobin.
Tobin.
Who is not the same kid who's in It Chapter 2, Luke Rossler. Kind of looks like him.
He looks like him. A little
Yeah.
bit skateboard kid.
Yeah, skateboard kid.
I do want to talk about the extreme dad energy radiating from Patrick Wilson in this.
Especially when he gets out of the car before they're in the grass.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm about to talk about. He's wearing a pink polo shirt tucked into his pants, which I think are khakis. I don't quite remember, but definitely with a belt.
Just a mustache.
Just a mustache. Probably tennis shoes. I wasn't paying close attention, but and he's on
talking
the phone.
About
dude, he
real
said the word.
estate.
He said the word escrow. I got chills.
What is that?
It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly could not explain to you what escrow is.
Is it a thing?
Yeah.
But I mean, is it like a tangible? Is it like
No. It's a financial bullshit.
Oh, okay.
thing. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I can't explain escrow.
Nope.
How do you explain? I just now. I feel like like 2 years after seeing The Big Short, was finally able to understand what it means to short the stock market. I can't tell you what escrow means.
Okay. Cool.
It's all fake.
Tobin, the kid, runs into Cal, and he has a dead bird in his hands, and he's like, the field doesn't move dead stuff.
Yeah.
And he said he knows who Becky is and how she and Cal are related. And he says, The Rock told me.
Yeah. Also, your sister's going to die soon.
Oh,
Bye. And I guess we learned that their family was also lured in by someone yelling.
Oh, yeah.
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 So as far as we can tell, it's this endless chain of people being lured in by someone yelling, and then they in turn yell for someone, and it just goes on forever and ever.
I do like that he says The Rock told me that Becky's your sister, because I had just imagined Dwayne Johnson being like, now listen here, there's a candy ass named Cal walking in here, and he's got a jabroni sister named Becky.
Dude, I was going to say, when you touch The Rock, it tells you where all the jabronis are.
Finally, The Rock has come back to the geographical center of the contiguous United States.
The best is like Patrick Wilson becomes this radicalized member of the Church of the Rock, and he's like the Rock's manager and is hype manning him the entire last half of this movie.
He is pumping up The Rock, dude.
Yeah. That's a good version of this, where they go into that little clearing, but it's The Rock just sitting there.
Yeah.
You gotta like rub his bald head and gain all the knowledge of the field of grass.
Oh, man.
He's been there since before time existed. That's why he still looks the same.
Yeah.
Gotta remake this. Let's get WWE Productions to let us remake this.
They've made horror movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I think around here, and this is going to get confusing right off the bat because we're dealing with time loops and we're dealing with stuff that's all happening at once. So I think around here, they find Becky's.
No. They hear Becky screaming.
Yeah.
Cal like goes into the grass to find her, and it fades to black, and then we meet Travis.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, because it was like, who the fuck is this guy in a pickup
Yeah,
truck?
so all of a sudden we cut to Travis, who I was confused because when I was Googling this movie, because I just read the short and I wanted to know, like, oh, who did they cast in this? Looking at the production stills, I thought that the guy playing Travis was the brother. So I was very confused when I initially saw Cal, the brother. I'm like, so wait, then who's this other dude that shows up?
Yeah, because he's not a character really in the novella. I
feel of two ways about this character. One, it's a good addition to like add some. We get to learn a little bit more about Becky and her past because of the addition of this character. But also we get less time with Cal and Becky.
Yeah.
I want to know more about them. At least in the short, like you mentioned, we get the road trip stuff and we get that they're very close.
They're very close. They're called Irish twins, which I think could be thought of as derogatory. But do you know that term? It is siblings born within a year of each other. In reference to how Irish people tend to procreate.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, no, that has to be derogatory.
Or Catholic twins.
I was going to say,
term.
okay.
But they're not quite that. They're like 19 months apart, so it wouldn't be fully accurate to use that term if you felt inclined to use that term. But yeah, they're very close in almost a weird way, and it gets brought up like once later in the movie, and it doesn't really have as much heft to it because in the novel, it's like.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, it's like, oh, they finish each other's thoughts.
Yeah, and I wanted more of his kind of obsessive nurturing of her because that's part of the tension between them a bit is he is really overprotective and his desire to constantly be taking care of her ultimately culminates in like the most fucked up moment in this where I didn't get that kind of progression here. That's like the climax of his obsessive need. I actually think the movie does it better in the second half of the movie than like the payoff of that is better in the movie than in the novella. But I think the setup is lacking a little bit in the movie. Sure. Because without Travis in the novella, you don't have as much just on the face of it Cal almost jealous question mark of this relationship that his sister has, whereas in the movie you do have that like him. I mean, right away when Travis finds them at one point, he starts like criticizing Travis's actions, like you didn't think to call anyone, or like he's very critical. Yeah, right because we learn apparently we cut to Travis and he's looking for Becky and Cal, and we learn that they've been missing for 2 months. 2 months. So he's going around with a picture of them, and he finds their car parked next to that church that's across from the field. And then he goes into the grass. I
don't think he hears anyone. Does he just go in on his own, or does he hear Tobin?
I am not quite sure.
I forget.
I think he sees that their car is parked there, and like where else?
Yeah, so
Could they have
in any
gone?
case, he winds up in the grass and then finds Tobin, Tobin says that they already know each other.
Yeah, he knows Travis. He knows that
he's
they're
looking
looking
Becky,
yeah.
And he's like, I'll show you
I'll
her.
show you. Are you sure you want to see her though? And yeah, please show me Becky. And that's when we see her dead body.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
she's
it's
dead.
like wasted away.
And it's
all.
like 25 minutes into the movie or a half hour in the
so
movie.
I'm
and
just like,
what the fuck?
all right, we're off the rails now because we have this character that isn't a thing in the original. So I was kind of excited to not really know what's gonna happen. Hey, I want to talk about this week's sponsor, and I just realized such a weird sponsor for this episode. HelloFresh.
Yeah, yum, yum, eat it up.
Yummy. The perfect episode for thinking about food. But honestly, who could be grossed out even within this context thinking about the delicious food that HelloFresh offers you? They can deliver it straight to your home.
Right to your front door.
Pretty nice.
It is.
They even have like vegetarian options, which is what we do because I don't eat red meat, and those are good. Those
They
are
are.
not just
salads.
not just salads. It's a misconception that people who don't eat meat just want to eat salads all the time. I most of the time don't like salad. But when they do send salads, they're pretty good. They have like a variety of things in them. It takes about 30 minutes to make the meals, which is nice because cooking is time consuming. And we are folks who don't have much time to do stuff.
Got a little bit more now.
That's true, yeah.
But it is nice to be able to not spend that cooking.
Because, most of the time I'm just hungry at that moment.
That's the thing is, nobody wants to have to plan ahead to eat. When you want to eat, you want to eat.
Yeah.
So HelloFresh makes it so 30 minutes later,
Yeah.
you're eating.
And everything is shipped to you in recyclable materials. So that's nice. Or the stuff is already recycled, like it's repurposed stuff.
Yeah.
This is a good way to combat food waste too, because everything is pre-proportioned for you. Everything's
Yep.
measured, so you don't have to worry about like, oops, I bought 50 eggplants and I didn't use all of
I
them.
hate it when I buy 50 eggplants.
I thought I wanted to eat eggplant parmesan all week. Turns out I don't.
Yeah.
And now all these are going in the trash. You don't have to worry about that with HelloFresh. So right now, HelloFresh now it starts from $5.66 per serving. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, dude, try to get a good meal for $5.66.
That's fast food prices. And this is definitely not fast food. It's
No.
fast, but
But it's fresh food.
yeah. So if you want to try HelloFresh, it's a perfect time because now they're doing a New Year's sale.
Ooh.
So you get 10 free meals, including free shipping if you go to HelloFresh.com/deadmeat10.
Nice.
Yeah, that's so much free food.
Yeah, it is.
Especially if you got your resolution. It's the new year. You want to eat a little bit healthier. This would be a good way to kickstart that. Maybe
Yeah.
get in the habit of like cooking some healthier stuff.
Get rid of the fast food, learn some cool cooking techniques thanks to HelloFresh.
Yeah, in like an affordable way too, which is nice. So
Yeah.
again, that's HelloFresh.com/deadmeat10. Go there, get your 10 free meals. Yeah.
Don't eat grass.
And don't eat grass.
The problem with the movie and why we may seem confused with our notes is it's constantly going from night to day. And I mean, that's intentional. I think it's meant to help confuse you with the time thing going on, but it is difficult to try to like recall and summarize
Like what happens and yeah.
Yeah, because next thing you know, Travis finds Cal and Becky alive. And they're all talking.
And that's like a few minutes after he found Becky's dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think around here is when we're starting to get some hints that Patrick Wilson's character is not all that he seems, because he basically snaps at his wife and is like, well, maybe if you'd been a better mother, we wouldn't have like,
Yeah.
oh boy, we're getting some my bitch wife vibes
Oh
from
yeah, because
Patrick.
at some point it goes back to show when they arrived outside the field and got out of the car, and then I think it was the dog, Freddie, who ran into the trees. Tobin goes after him. The parents go after him.
Yeah,
Also,
well, mom's fault.
Also, that dog looks just like Vincent from Lost, and then the final shot of this movie looks like the final shot from Lost. A lot of Lost imagery going on.
Oh,
in
is
here.
that where he's like laying on
He's laying in the grass.
I
and
just
they're
have
like,
always seen that as a GIF.
Oh, from Lost?
Yeah.
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 Maybe we'll do a Lost podcast.
Don't fucking...
Because is that horror?
Don't... No.
Does that count?
It's a mystery. It's not horror. Don't get my
The
hopes up.
mystery. It's a classic J.J. Abrams mystery box television
It
show.
is 5 seasons of wonderful television.
Right.
All right? Don't get me... We'll watch it one day.
It's hard to get attached to things we love and then be let down.
It's twice now.
3 times, man.
What's the third?
Star Wars. Oh, you liked it more than me, I guess. We're not having that discussion right now.
Yeah, let's not even open that box.
We're not going to open the J.J. Abrams mystery box.
It's fine. It's fine.
You know that story, right? The
What?
mystery box
The
thing?
mystery box, no.
So I forget who gave it to him, but J.J. Abrams for years has been in possession of this box. And I am, there's J.J. Abrams fans listening. I am not, I don't have like the specifics of this.
I just hope it wasn't Andy Samberg who gave it to him.
What?
Because that's his dick.
Oh,
in the
it's his
box.
dick in there, yeah.
Sorry.
He has this box that he has chosen to never open because he at this point knows that the mystery of what's in there is more exciting than what's actually in the box. And if that doesn't that just really like
I'm not going to blame J.J. Abrams one bit for Lost. That responsibility lies on the shoulders of 2 men.
Lindelof and
Hughes. Although I've heard that Lindelof has made more than made up for his shortcomings in Lost with what Leftovers
right?
and Watchmen.
Sure.
So, good job, man. You did it.
Yeah. And J.J. Abrams gave us Captain Phasma, so I was tweeting about that.
Yeah.
Fun fact, she's designed after Phantasm. Like, she is a reference to Phantasm.
Yeah, explicitly.
She's Captain Phasma, and she is all chrome and red and black. I love it. That's so nerdy that I'm like, all right, JJ.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Okay, so I also, in quotes, I have mine. That's light sells right. That's one of Patrick's. He's a self-help guy.
Oh,
he
for
loves
sure.
he loves Tony Robbins.
Not
and, like,
not one who creates it, one who
no,
consumes
he
it.
loves his tapes, and he's like a Nicolas Cage and Wicker Man. Where he's got his tapes. You know, he fucking freaks out if his tapes go missing. Where'd you put my tapes, wife? It's always her fault.
So when they all meet up, Patrick Wilson's not there. I forget how they get separated because, again, very confusing. But they all meet up and they have a great idea. Put the little kid on Travis's shoulders.
Yeah.
Kid sees building.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to walk towards that building. Do not look the fuck away because, like the quantum stuff in the Outer Wilds, which is a fucking amazing game.
This Outer Wilds was a weird game to be playing when we decided to watch this because there's a lot of similar. We're like, okay, just make sure you don't take your eyes off this thing and then it won't disappear. I will say this movie does a good job of, and this is what I consider a sign of really strong writing, or at least really thoughtful writing, or one that they've had someone read it and then have taken like, oh, well, why didn't they do this?
Yes.
This is a movie where every time I think, well, why would they just do this? The characters do it.
And I always
appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Where they know, they're aware enough of their script to understand what the audience is thinking. So this is one of them. I'm like, well, if that kid is tiny, just put him on your shoulders, and if he can see it, then make sure he just is always looking at this building, and you should get to it. But of course, the grass itself, this like land, it trips Becky, and they have to check on her because she's pregnant. And I think the kid, it's just
Put some back
stuff
up
happens,
and it's gone,
and the stuff that happens is significant enough to the point where I forgot that they were even supposed to be looking for that building, and when I realized, oh, they took their eyes off it. It's done well. Like,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it, though, they were close. And that's when Patrick Wilson meets back up with them. Because he's like, oh, you were trying to get out well, nothing ever stays the same here. I'll show you the way out.
I'll show you the way out. He's way too excited to show them the way.
Yeah, and he takes him to the rock.
Takes him to the rock.
Which, again, by this point, Tobin has already brought Travis to the rock in like a different kind of loop.
Yeah.
And Tobin touched it because he's like,
he's
that feels good.
He's like, God, that feels good.
This little kid saying that's so weird.
I don't know why, but to me it sounded exactly like that one G.I. Joe dub where the fireman is like, God, that smells good. It's exactly the same delivery,
it is,
and
really.
it killed me. Yeah, so they're all, because in the short, Tobin is also really freaky.
He is.
Tobin as like a guide and as a good character is not a thing in the short. He's kind of classic creepy.
Yeah, he's
King
like
kid.
a antagonist of sorts.
Yes.
Whereas in the movie, they're like, oh, we got this cute kid. He's just gonna be a good guy.
He's like one of the bosses of this video game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like little kid and then the dad. They're not like hanging out with Tobin. He's just another one of the bad guys they have to deal
Oh,
with.
yeah. Tobin's not on their side in the novella, which I'm fine with having the kid be a good guy.
Yeah, it gives you more to, latch on to.
Yeah, and root for, especially since you get less Becky and Cal.
Yeah, I wish we had more. The stuff with Becky's odd, especially what her story ends up being.
And that she wants to keep the baby instead?
Yeah, that whole ending scene was weird. And we'll obviously get there. But, it was all weird. I just wasn't quite sure what we were doing with it. But then also, in the short, it stops kind of becoming about her at all, right? Because doesn't she just kind of die and then...
No, she dies at the very end.
I'm trying to remember the end because you read this recently. I read it a few months ago.
Yeah.
We'll just get to that part.
Oh, I forgot that when she collapses and that's what causes them to take their eye off the prize, that's when we get a lot of music video stuff. You see grass growing inside her womb.
Yeah, where there's a baby.
There's a baby and then she sees grass-headed people and it's all flashy
the grass-headed
cuts and
people
stuff.
Were cool.
Yeah, that's new. There's
some cool
sure.
visuals in this that I liked quite a bit.
So Patty Wilson, P-Dubs, leads him to the rock, says it's the center of the continent, and he almost gets Cal to touch it. He's so close to getting Cal to touch it, but then Natalie shows up. Natalie, who is Tobin's mom, P-Dubs' wife, and who was played by someone who was in Saw 3D, but a small part.
Yes,
that I
saw
remember.
she was credited as Mother.
What the fuck is
I
that?
don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't really remember Saw 3D.
It's bad.
Yeah, I know.
It's real fucking
That's
bad.
the one where the woman's tied down on all fours and put into an oven.
Yeah, after the one, it's after the scene where Jill is tied up in a dream sequence in a negligee, which is after the scene where the woman is tied.
Is in the storefront.
Yep.
Yeah,
in her bra.
that movie
and then,
has some.
But more guys die in it.
Yeah. Okay. It has some things with women in it that are a little just things that make you go.
So Natalie shows up and is like, yo, my husband's crazy.
Yeah, don't listen to him. Everything he's told you is a lie.
Also, I saw Becky dead.
Yeah, also, yeah. Everything's so fucked in this. I don't know how we're supposed to review it.
It's very difficult because there's so many things that are just this person was dead, now they're alive.
Yeah.
Now it's day, now it's night. There's that bowling alley that they're gonna get to pretty soon.
Is this the scene where Patrick is finally he's had it with his wife?
Yeah.
The old ball
His
and chain.
bitch wife.
The sperm bank, as another Stephen King character may call her. He fucking grabs onto her and just crushes her head with his bare hands in front of Tobin.
Yeah, in front of his kid. Yeah, it's super fucking crazy.
Just something to keep in mind about Tobin. Just Tobin's seen a lot of shit,
man.
Just keep that in mind for the end of this film.
Another P-Dubs line here is when he's trying to be he's talking about how he went for the soft sell instead of the hard sell, but then he's like, no, we're all good here, right, Travis?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, we solid.
We solid now.
God. Also, lots of Patrick Wilson. Okay. I just want to put it out into the universe because it's the beginning of 2020 and I feel like that's the time you do stuff like that. It's resolutions and just putting things out there. You're gonna The Secret this. 2020, Patrick Wilson will be on this podcast.
Oh
I'm putting it out there. I'm gonna self-actualize to reference. Is that his season of Fargo?
Yes, season 2.
With Kirsten Dunst, right?
Yeah.
Where she's
Oh, yeah. She's always talking about self-actualization or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
So I'm doing that. Please, Scream King Patrick Wilson, come be on the podcast.
Okay.
It's so funny because I was
crossed.
when my mom was here, we were talking about just recent horror movies and we were talking about The Conjuring and brought up Patrick Wilson and my mom was like, oh yeah, what has he been up to normies? Patrick Wilson is just he was in Fargo, but
yeah,
people might not be aware that he is
what was he in before? What was his big stuff? Because I know him.
Watchmen. He's the original Night
long.
Owl in that. Or not the original. He is Night Owl in that. I'm trying to remember what else. I just know him.
But he
from
was in more
stuff.
mainstream films.
Yeah, for sure. He was in Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that's right. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a more mainstream star. And now he's just all up in horror. And I
fucking
feel like
awesome.
he is, like, as far as I can tell, he's made quite a home for himself.
He's
here.
got to like it if he's been in, because he was Insidious?
Yes,
And
Insidious.
then obviously all the Conjuring films.
He was in Aquaman, but that's because James Wan did Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
So there's the horror connection.
Got it.
Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just all up in horror, and I love it.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
great.
it so much. Come to horror conventions, Patrick. We'd have so much fun. Anyway, yeah. Our interview with him would just be the Chris Farley show on the SNL bit he does where he's like, you remember when you were in The Conjuring? Yeah, that was cool. I have another quote from him where he's talking to Travis, and he's like, let me guess, Travis, you're lead singer in a band, you got a gig every week at blah, blah, blah. And Travis is like, yeah, it's pretty close. And he's like, yeah, once upon a time, serious youth pastor vibes from Patrick Wilson, like cool skateboarding youth pastor. But he's like, me and my Gibson and Jesus, we were going to rock the world. And
yeah, he says he was in a Christian rock band.
that is the indie drama I want to see. Like the rise and fall of this weird Christian rock band that
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson is in. Yes. Let's do it. 824.
Freddy appears, the dog.
Yes.
He's alive.
It is nice because, like, the dog, yeah, we see the dead dog like a few times, but also the dog is alive at the same time. Also, it's weird quantum shit. Everything is being in the grass is like just Schrodinger's everything. Like everything is alive and dead all at once in there, and it's not till you like exit the grass that it's determined if if you open the box, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Think I got that right.
Something close to that. Freddy leads them out of the grass and into a bowling alley, which is surrounded by the grass. It's like they're still in the
bowling
field.
alley.
This is a weird thing.
I think
they needed to change up because
I think so too. I think they needed a change of scenery because
it's so hard to have a movie that's only in one location. It can feel
it's
stale
all-
and boring.
Yeah.
So if they're just in this field for 90 minutes, this is also an hour 40. After reading the novella, I was like, this has got to be an 80-minute movie. No, it's
hour 40.
hour
I was
40.
shocked.
So, they go to this
The bowling alley is weird though. Because I get why, like visually why it's there, and it makes it a bit more interesting, and they're able to kind of be on another level. They can climb stuff, and there's more stuff to interact with, and it gives them a spot to hide from Patrick Wilson for a bit. But I liked the feeling of in the novella that the church is the only building.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like
Because
that's
it's the church.
it's the Church of the Rock.
Yeah.
I think it's
If you smell.
yeah.
Yeah, so they go to this bowling alley and they go up on the roof to like look around at their surroundings, and it's here where
They see the dog blip through.
he goes like behind a tuft of grass near them, and then emerge on the road,
Yes.
like out of the grass.
So this is another weird difference, and this was like a choice they must have had to have made, because unlike I think when you're writing something, and I could be wrong, the grass in the movie feels like it is not necessarily like it's not ever changing, but I think it has like set like holes in it where you can leave. And I don't necessarily think like the maze that is the grass is like ever changing. Where like it's like manipulating itself to make you lost. It's just it's just hard to navigate. Whereas I think in the
they do
short,
the jump. The jumps are supernaturally.
I guess. But
places
then
them
why
apart.
would there be like a little hole where the dog can get out?
This is why it's got 37%.
Oh no.
I don't know. Yeah, I do like the idea that there is a way out for them. That because like there's not in they're fucked in the short story as soon as they enter that.
I
grass,
almost
they're
want to
fucked.
believe that there is a way the dog is able to leave because the dog at one point touched the rock and that's why it can leave.
Lick the rock.
Yeah, or like peed on it and had like
It goes up the
knows
pee
how to
stream.
get
What is
out.
that from? Is that a fucking Freddy.
Anaconda?
Freddy comes back to life. Freddy Krueger
Oh,
when the dog pisses
yes,
on
that's
his
right.
corpse
Okay,
in
I
the
was thinking
junkyard.
of like the fish and anaconda.
Oh, no, but then also Leprechaun in Space, he comes back when a guy pees on his corpse. He goes through his pee hole and comes out.
Amazing. I love that that's happened more than once.
And of course, it's Freddy and the Leprechaun who did it.
They're
Of course.
nasty.
They nasty
They're
boys.
nasty.
So they're like, oh, we can just follow that dog through that hole. And then Travis trips, and Cal grabs him at first, and then like
lets him go.
he hears like voices and lets him go, and Travis falls.
This is after two important things. One, this is after a big argument that they all have.
Oh yeah.
Where Travis is like, you want to fuck your sister and you're gross and you're jealous of me. And then Cal is like, yeah, well, you dropped out of high school and you're in a shitty band. And that takes place after they get a weird phone call from the future.
Oh, yeah, it's from, and I don't know if we were supposed to know this, but we had captions on, so it said Becky's voice over the phone, and it's like, don't let Cal hurt Travis, or else we'll keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they got that phone call, which is, I like that.
Yeah, sure.
Time loopy shit.
And that always is interesting when it's done right. I think it's done pretty well here, where you get like something from the future that is trying to stop you from doing something in the past, and then when you get to that point in the future where they make that phone call felt organic.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like, oh shit, we wrote in this phone call earlier, so we have to have her do this. It felt completely natural and appropriately motivated for her to be like, oh man, I gotta call him and try and change this, and then it adds to the feeling of just hopelessness because it all feels so unchangeable. Yeah. So
Travis falls, and I guess we're meant to think he died for a minute. He didn't, but he's out of commission, and so Cal and now Patty Wilson's back.
Yeah.
And Cal grabs Becky and is like, we gotta get out of here. And Tobin's with them too, but before they can go, Becky realizes, oh, I think you probably hurt Travis,
so
right?
I'm going back into the grass because fuck you.
Yeah, so she runs off on her own.
I don't know if I would ever be that pissed. I mean, I get why she's pissed, but like go back into the grass pissed and get lost forever and attacked by Patrick Wilson pissed? I don't know.
Well, before he can get her, he's going to attack Cal because he gets Cal in the grass, and then Cal starts to run away from him, and he like swerves, and Patty Wilson's there to meet him and tackles him, and he's like, I know what you're thinking. What if I just went left instead of right? But you didn't just make one choice. You made every choice, and they all led back to me. And then he strangles him to death, and while he's strangling him to death, Cal looks over and sees a line of other dead cows in various states of decay.
So are we supposed to get from that all of this has happened so many different times?
I think so.
Not just like the one time we've seen everything played out. It's just happened a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, this is such a heady take on this. Because like we said, none of this time stuff is in the novella.
No, the closest thing we get to any kind of looping is just the fact that the grass geographically doesn't make sense. Like
it's more
things are
spatial
shifting. Yeah, it's like
than time.
Yes.
Whereas this is all this time loop stuff. And like, listen, I love it. But it's gotta have a payoff and just some semblance of understanding for the audience, because that imagery of Cal looking over and seeing a bunch of dead cows,
very creepy,
very cool.
I just wish I
just couldn't even begin to explain.
Yeah.
What the fuck's happening here?
Yeah, I
wish
wish
how The Rock figures into it.
Yeah, how does The Rock figure into this with all these jabronis laying the smack down over and over and over again.
Just endless rock bottoms.
Yeah, that's right. Endless people's elbows. That's The Rock, right?
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I like in stuff like this, I always need more of I need hard rules for like time and space fuckery.
They can be revealed gradually, but give us something to like afterward be like, oh yeah.
That's why this was like, I'm trying to think of movies that do it really well.
I mean, 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys does it well. Honestly, Happy Death Day does it well. The first one.
Mm-hmm. What's the movie with the like water tower or whatever and the weird mask?
Oh, Time Crimes.
Time Crimes.
Time Crimes is one.
Satisfied.
Yes, that one. Okay, that might actually be the best example of one that like that movie has rules, and I don't think it ever breaks them.
That'd be worth a rewatch because I barely remember.
That one's a good. Yeah, that one's a good one. That might be one we could do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that a horror? Do you think?
Oh, I don't know. That's the thing is you don't. I always just want to like push the boundary a little bit so I can just review movies I want to watch that I want to rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew, okay.
And Primer, but Primer is also confusing as shit.
Yeah, Primer, you need a fucking flowchart to understand. Yeah. Travis wakes up from his little spill off the roof, and he goes into the grass, and somehow he and Becky wind up lying on their backs in the grass, talking to each other. And I really like this moment where they're like talking, and then they reach out hands through the grass, because he's like, I wish you were here, and she's like, I'm right here, and they like almost touch hands. As if the grass were allowing them to be close to each other. But then she's pulled away by Patty Wilson.
Yeah, who like, I was like, are they going to include this stuff?
Oh, me too.
You know,
it's like the rape threat.
It's like weird rape threat.
He's like, I'm going to go rape you on a rock.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, are they going to put that in there? They did.
They did.
And it's uncomfortable.
They also included the eye stab.
Yes.
Where she stabs him in the eye with a little scissors.
There's little scissors, yeah, because it's like the mom's fanny pack that fell on the ground, and so she stabs him with scissors. Ooh, it's so gross. It's like those little nail scissors.
Yeah, and so she starts to get away after stabbing him in the eye, but then she gets swarmed by the grasshead people. What the fuck are these grasshead people, man?
This is not a thing from the story, and
no, they look
creepy.
like they're from the Lion King stage show, I think.
Yes.
I've never seen. Okay, good.
No, there's a part in that where it's like these ladies come out with they're holding like they have like boxes of basically grass on their head, so it's like they're the ground, and they have little puppets, like tiny versions of the lions that are like walking around on top of the grass, like they're farther away.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I could see it. Yeah, they're like Lion King musical.
So they swarm her, and this is that overhead shot that I think you referred to earlier with the grass, like kind of
breathing in and out.
Remind me of midsummery kind of. Yeah.
And the one guy's head is like a spiral of grass.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
It's creepy. And when she wakes up, because she like passes out, I guess she's.
Oh yeah, but not before the ground fucking opens up next to her, and there's like people.
Well, she wakes up next to the rock.
Oh, that's when
and then the ground in front of the rock starts to open up, and yeah, there's just like
there's all these people that are like part of the
mud people.
They're like roots
and then
in
there's
there.
Skeletons.
It's so weird.
I guess it's meant to be all the people who have been trapped by
there.
The field. In the tall grass.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. So is that like inevitably what happens to anyone who gets stuck in there and dies?
I guess, but now she's starting to have her baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then she blacks out basically while she's having the baby. Mm-hmm. And this whole time she has been, because she's pregnant, so it's like she's going to be hungrier than normal. I can't even fathom doing a road trip as a pregnant lady, because I feel like I have to pee all the time anyway.
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
Having to pee and you're pregnant, oh, man, that's annoying for everyone on that trip. But this whole time she's like, look, I'm super pregnant. I need somewhere to lay down. I need to eat. I need water. So then she wakes up, and her brother is right next to her. Again, like we've said, the brother is very obsessed with taking care of his sister. And he, I think, kind of like sprinkles a wet rag on her, and then he starts feeding her. And by the way, if you like to, eat spaghetti and listen to the podcast, just put the spaghetti away. If that's a thing you like to do.
Why? He's only feeding
really.
her grass. It's what
That's
cows
right,
eat.
It's just grass.
Grass and seeds and stuff.
Right,
cows eat it all the time.
Good God. This is the part that, having read the short story, I'm just waiting to see how they do it. The brother is feeding her, and she is like, oh man, it's delicious. It's finger licking good, apparently, if I remember her kind of inner, her monologue at that point. And then she's like, dude, what is this? And like, we know what it is.
Because now we're starting to see it's bloody. And she says, wait a minute, it tastes like me.
Yeah.
Because it turns out it's not her brother. It's Patrick Wilson. And he's feeding her the baby.
Patrick Wilson is feeding her the baby. But in the book, it was Cal.
In the book, it is Cal. Because in the book, she just kills she kills Ross. By stabbing him in the eye and with the scissors, and she runs away. I think collapses, and then she is eating, and it is described in graphic
disgusting.
detail
The way that
as sardines. It tastes like sardines,
and like stringy,
like a lot of
she's
that.
slurping it.
Yep.
It's so gross.
And then Tobin's there, and he says it's scrumdiddlyumptious.
That's right.
And
yes,
Cal, they include this line in the thing, but Cal says out of the oven and baked to perfection.
That's right.
Which is bun in the oven, but also food.
And also the most Stephen King way to describe what's happening.
Yeah.
Like in like a commercial jingle way.
Also straight from the novella is the aren't you the Mother Mary? Wonder when the wise men will show up.
Yeah. This is a change I don't love, though, the fact that it's Patrick Wilson feeding her.
Cal's dad.
I know, but I'm saying that's... I think what's so creepy to me about it in the story is that it is Cal.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, that is his calm. That's like what The Rock has taken from him and so insanely exaggerated is his need to care for her. And that's where it ends up, is he is so focused on her. She's the most important thing that he's going to provide for her no matter what, and if that means feeding her own baby,
which was a miscarriaged baby.
Yes,
it was dead when it came out.
Yeah, and that's extremely descriptive too.
Yeah,
is that birth process?
Yeah,
the story's fucking gross.
Don't they eat the baby and mother too? I think they rip it
apart.
I'm pretty sure they eat it.
Spoilers for Mother.
Yeah.
I think people left the theater at that part.
People left the fuck out of that theater.
Yeah.
Everyone on Reddit talks all about how Mother was the movie they've seen where most people have walked out. I love the movie.
I love that movie too. Honestly, if I hear people are leaving a movie, I'm like, I gotta go see that.
Oh, that movie's so fucked up.
Yeah, I think they eat the baby in that too.
Yeah. Well, the whole symbolism, they would have to.
Right.
Yeah. Because of symbolism. That's why.
So I think just remembering how grossed out I was in the short story by the description of it, and it's so drawn out, and you just have to live with that whole sequence for so long that I felt a little let down by it in the movie.
Yeah.
I think because the
baby eating could have been done better. I
think it could have felt like more of a... I don't know. I wish I'd felt more devastated by it.
More horrific.
I wish it had felt more led to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wish they had really stuck with, Cal being obsessed with her and this being oh, this is where this has taken him, rather than it feels kind of it just feels fucked up to be fucked up, even though it is from the story.
Yeah.
It just, the road we took to it here,
mm-hmm.
I think if I watched this and I hadn't read the story, I would have felt like it came out of nowhere. But I do like the idea that I think earlier Patrick Wilson says everything is grass when he kills the mom. He's it's all grass, whatever.
Oh yeah, flesh is grass, whatever.
It's
man.
all, and it that goes into the whole, it's the time loop thing. Everything is endless. When we die, we become grass. Everything is part of it. It's everything is all everything.
Yeah,
we're all made of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's oh yeah, no big deal, I'll just feed you your baby. It's what cows do, apparently. Animal expert Patrick Wilson. I don't know. I
don't remember exactly how that ends, but Travis winds up finding her.
I know she we think maybe she's either dead or but she completely blinds Patrick Wilson somewhere around here. She hits him with a rock. So now he's blinded in both eyes.
Well, he's fighting Travis.
Yeah.
They end up in a fight. He stabs Travis with a bone that he reaches into the earth to grab, which is kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
But Travis wins out by banging his head against the rock and then strangling him with grass.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she dies?
I think it's right around when she, I think she uses that necklace to stab him in the eye.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what that is.
Which the necklace it all of a sudden started being important throughout the movie. It wasn't made important until it was.
It's
and it was
totally a visual.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it was a kind of last minute, maybe not last minute, but it was a thing where they realized, oh, how are we going to get the audience to understand, or how are we going to visually signify to the audience that Becky and Cal at the end of this understand that they've been here before?
Yeah, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first time it shows up is when Travis finds Becky dead.
Yeah.
And the first time early on, and he finds her necklace there.
Yeah.
Not sure.
It's a crab.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
they go to a lot of
kitschy
weird
thing.
tourist
That's
But
the thing.
that's like a
That's
Myrtle
the
Beach
only,
keychain.
That's the only holdover, I think, from the whole, like, we were stopping at weird places on the road trip aspect.
But then I think he like gave to her.
Oh, you think?
I think that's something where
Okay.
like maybe because I think that they're just like into that shit. It just like I said, it screams like Myrtle Beach Boardwalk or something.
Travis touches the rock.
Travis touches the rock.
That's right.
Fuck it at this point.
Because after Becky dies, he's like, "Fuck it, the Rock will tell me how to get out."
Yeah, I
That was the whole
need to at
thing.
least get out.
It's like, it's like the Rock will tell you how to get out, but you won't want to. So Travis touches the rock,
And because he is good,
I guess.
not like Patrick Wilson, he uses his rock powers for good and teleports.
Well, he tells Tobin, "You don't belong here, and don't let them in." And then he like picks up Tobin
He fucking puts him back in time.
in the church.
Yeah. I don't know how to describe how this he like picks up Tobin and is like boop and puts him into the church that is across the road. I love the design of the church, by the way. I think it's neat that the windows are not quite explicitly grass, but the patterns are swirly and like greens and yellows, and like I get what they were going for. It's kind of neat. And so, Tobin is in this church and he opens the door to the road and he sees Becky and Cal from before they went into the grass. And
Like,
he
yeah,
hears
the beginning.
himself yelling for them and runs over. He's a dirty ass little kid, just like, don't go in there. That's me. And don't listen to,
And you're Cal, and you're Becky, and Travis is your baby daddy.
Yeah,
and,
also here's
a
this
necklace.
key. Here's this Joe's Crab Shack keychain.
And that does it. Becky's like, "Oh shit, Cal,
We've
you're
been
back."
here before. I get it. Time travel's real. We need to go. And here's the thing, what I was talking about with this ending that I thought was so bizarre is like, it culminates in her being like, I'm going to keep the baby, which is fine, a fine character choice. But the way that Cal reacts to this, like, just imagine like this kid shows up, makes you realize that you've like probably died inside of this field before. Time travel is real. Like, quantum shifting is like a real thing, like, and now you have this weird dirty kid in your backseat, and his reaction is, what about the family in San Diego? Like, dude, fuck the family in San Diego. And then he even is like, you want to take this kid to the police station? That means driving back the way we came. Who fucking cares? We have a weird kid in our backseat.
That's fair.
And
that's
like,
entirely fair.
do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just don't think he would be like, but that's 10 minutes the other way. Like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
It just is such weird writing for the end of this to
Yeah.
have Cal be like, oh, but we just came from there. It's like, yeah, and we have a strange child in our car who is mentally just fucked for the rest of his life. Tobin has seen everything, and that's why I said to keep in mind all the stuff like
'Cause he makes
baby
it out.
eaten. He saw his mom's head get crushed by his dad's bare hands. Like her eyeball like fucking pops out.
He saw his dog die a few
He's seen,
times. Like,
he's seen like everyone die so many times, and he remembers all of it. And he traveled through time, dude.
Yeah, that's fucked up. They drive off, and the last shot is poor Travis,
Yeah,
who is all dirty and tired, and he just gave himself to let them
I think
live.
I think the implication is he has given himself to the grass so that they can escape, which makes me wonder, so in this timeline now of
Yeah,
they
is
never
there
go,
another
is there
Travis?
another Travis who doesn't have to go looking for them? Or is
Right?
it like Travis has given himself to the grass, therefore Travis is like removed from all versions of reality?
Who
and
fucking knows, man?
do people go looking for him?
Uh-oh, maybe.
Which that
'Cause the last shot of this is the Jack Shepherd shot of him laying down
Yeah.
the grass. In the novella, they feed her the baby. I think she dies or whatever, or they feed her the baby, and that's like the end of that.
and it
then
basically is just Cal and Tobin like living in the grass, being like weird grass people.
no, there's the little epilogue scene where like a bunch of hippies roll up to the same spot, and they hear them yelling in the grass, and are like, "Well, we'll go fucking like Stephen King hippies." Yeah. They're like, "Oh, we'll go."
They
help
are
them
now
out."
the Patrick Wilsons of the grass.
Yeah.
They are now continuing the cycle of getting people to come into the field.
Yeah.
So like, okay, if it is a thing where people go looking for Travis, that makes, that's more in line with the original ending. But I don't know. That's why I get frustrated with like, I don't know the rules of.
I know. I want a
the
few more
grass.
rules. I don't need everything explained, but
Yeah, but I need
just more guidelines.
boundaries.
So yeah, it's fine.
It's entertaining. Everyone in it's good.
Yeah.
Solid.
I
Patrick
like seeing
Wilson,
Patrick Wilson as a bad
mustache.
guy.
Me too.
He's always the good guy because he's a good guy, seems like. So.
His he has like a good guy face.
Mm-hmm.
But his performance in this made me think that in yet another remake of The Shining, he'd be a good
Jack
Torrance.
Torrance, man, for sure.
Because he would be the book version where you believe he's a good dude, and then he can play crazy scary.
Yeah, very
That's
good.
a version of that character we'll never get to see, but I think would be pretty neat. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'd recommend it if you want something kind of mindfucky.
If you love Stephen King, because it's got enough Stephen King elements to it, I think. If you like mindfucky stuff, sure, give it a shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it sounds appealing,
I don't
might as
think
well.
it's bad.
Yeah.
I just think that's a hard
It's messy.
story to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
right.
to be back on the podcast. If you didn't know, Kill Counts have a new schedule. You can look that video up. And we'll be doing stuff next week on the podcast. We got some, Radio Silence just emailed us.
Oh yeah,
asking
the
to
team
come on.
behind Ready or Not.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So that's gonna be.
We'll hopefully have them on soon.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll do. We're just gonna hang out.
Sure.
Maybe we'll just hang out. Be a chill hangout episode. Okay.
Yeah. So we got a lot of fun stuff in store for this year. In addition to our wedding in October.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait. So thank you so much. Welcome back. And I hope you're having your year's off to a good start. That's what I hope. Yeah. Follow us on social media at DeadMeatJames on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm at Carebeck, CareBecc on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want merch, deadmeatstore.com.
Email deadmeatpod if you want.
Yeah.
At gmail.com.
Yes.
Yes. Cool. Until next week, I'm James.
I'm Chelsea.
This has been the Dead Meat Podcast.